Okay, we're going to go to a press briefing quickly with the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Zizi Kodwa, who is currently in France for the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Of course, it kicks off today, but there were tenterhooks ahead of an agreement that has been reached between MultiChoice as well as the SABC. So the Minister is briefing us on that agreement that has been signed.
Not only for this particular event, but also going forward?
I think there are lessons to be learned. I think a few months back, we grew up watching Comrades Marathon. So at about 5 a.m. I get calls that, why is Comrades Marathon not on SABC? And I immediately try to find out why. As you know that the issues about federations is about money today. And whether indeed some of the federations, this is a conversation we must have ourselves as a department. Some of the federations, in reality, is that they may think that there is no money at SABC and they follow where money is. And by so doing, they may leave out majority of people who cannot afford. And that is a conversation we must have. How do you keep federations under SABC, which in itself is facing financial challenges? What other financial revenues you may want to have? Government on its own obviously cannot afford that. We need to talk to corporate citizens and see how best we sustain SABC, because it's an important platform as a public broadcaster with a public mandate. It's a conversation that we must have honestly going forward. Otherwise, we'll continue to find ourselves to be where we're at.
And the board's role in all these conversations?
I don't have a board. I can't speak on behalf of SABC. And I'm avoiding to make any comments about MultiChoice as well as SABC. I'm sure the shareholder rep responsible may want to comment about it. I implored them when I met with them that in the interest of the national interest, as well as making sure that for the growth and development of sport in the country, it's important that we locate your discussion and conversation in the context of social cohesion and nation building, because sport plays an important part to define who we are. And the sport, the way it has come up post-COVID, it will be really a damper at this moment where we are the world champs. We are having this conversation. We shouldn't be having this conversation as world champs. And it's unfortunate where we are, but I think we've made a breakthrough. I think let's leave about the past. Let's focus on the future. I look forward to 16 games. I have no doubt that we will join them at the finals. The president of the country is ready. He has already diarised the 28th. That will be in France, like all of us.
Just on a more positive note then, Minister, you speak about school sport and the importance of it, and obviously the Indaba is something that wants to grow that grassroots level. How important is it you speak about the World Cup, you have to start somewhere to get to a World Cup. How important is it for the department to prioritize school sport and make sure that there are platforms and infrastructure and a lot of things that make school sport, so that we can see the development in the more professional settings?
Most successful sporting nations, you can talk about Australia, New Zealand, and many others. They've got a very good school sport foundation system. We had similar things in the past. You had something called Wednesday, called PE, not Port Elizabeth, but physical education. But I think there are certain things that from a policy point of view we need to align. So that we too, if we're talking about a winning nation going forward as a vision, we need to have a very good grassroots and school sport system. That's where it must start. And I think at the moment it's everywhere. Part of what is envisaged by the school sport Indaba is to align everything. Department of Basic Education, ourselves, because if we have a vision of becoming the world champs across sporting codes, we must start have a good sporting foundation. And that will be, the sport Indaba will herald that future.
Minister, you didn't answer my question about how much did SABC pay now for the 16 games?
Well, I can only confirm what is in the public domain, that SABC paid $3 million US. What was the demand? I don't know. What was offered? I don't know. That's why we decided not to be involved in the negotiations, except to say we implore you to find a solution. I'm sure both MultiChoice as well as SABC, the agreement, they did not maximally achieve the commercial value that they wanted. But because they appreciated the conversations I had with them, that you may not be the best. That makes commercial sense. You may want 5 million, SABC may have this. I'm sure SABC made a loss. But I think in the national interest, to avoid that loss again, the negotiations of the next World Cup, of the Cricket World Cup, of Athletics South Africa must commence now. Except to note that I'm the only one who's wearing a Bokke Friday. And I see, no, yeah, because we are the champs of 2019. I implore, not only do I blame yourselves, look at the officials from the department. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed by officials from the department. It's Sports Friday, it's Bokke Friday. I'm the only one except the DG, to whom I want to thank the team, as well as advisors, Ray and Max, who made sure that we worked 24 hours to get us where we are. It was sleepless nights, it was not easy, but I want to thank all of them who was involved. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ambani Nguk.
Thank you very much.
Ambani Nguk.
Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture there, Zizi Kodwa, who's currently in France, where the Rugby World Cup is kicking off today up until the 28th of next month. And he's just heard there that he says that he expects that the president will be there as the Springboks try to defend their title. Also, very important one is, of course, the agreement that the SABC has gone into with the MultiChoice, and the SABC accusing MultiChoice of anti-competitive behavior. That matter is also before the Competition Commission. However, though, the minister there is saying that the figure that the SABC paid is at around $3 million. It's the first time that we're hearing of that figure, which, if you look at the current exchange rate, means that the SABC, if indeed that figure is correct from the minister, would have paid at around 54 million rand for the broadcasting rights of those 16 matches. So we'll try and see if we can get any confirmation from the SABC around this figure. Yesterday, when I spoke to the COO, Ian Plaikis, about this, he said that he can't disclose how much the MultiChoice and SuperSport has asked for the sub-licensing of the broadcast licensing rights. However, though, that the figure is 3 times that the value of the license itself. But we don't know what the amount of that is.